What's good? What's good? It's the one and only, but what do I know? Boxing coming back at y'all with another one, man. So we got Dmitry Bivols in the news. All right, so here we go. Dmitry Bivols has responded to what has been, kind of a letdown for a lot of us in the boxing world who is looking forward to Dmitry Bivols fighting David Benavidez. Now, a lot of people are, it's kind of split. A lot of people feel like Dmitry Bivols is ducking David Benavidez. I'm not one of those guys. Even though, if you follow my channel, I'm a huge supporter of David Benavidez, sparred with him, been around him. I'm a huge supporter, but I don't think Bivols is ducking David Benavidez at all. In the words of my uncle, 78 Sports TV, he said it best. He said, any man that's going to fight better be 3 times is not afraid of David Benavidez. And there's absolutely no diss to David Benavidez at all. Like, 78 rocks with David Benavidez just as well. But what we're saying is this man, Benavidez, is like a freak of nature. And I just think anybody that will go into the smoke with somebody who had an 100% knockout ratio is not afraid to take on the challenge of anybody. You know what I'm saying? So that's for sure Dmitry Bivols. Now, him and his team kind of spoke on what has been going on with the WBC and how they're not happy with the WBC. I'm going to go ahead and get into the article, and then I'm going to go ahead and give you my opinion based off of what they say and how they feel. And honestly, it's actually valid. Now, obviously, I would still love to see him fight Benavidez over the likes of Benavidez 3, but it's valid. He has a valid reason. So let's go ahead and get into it, and I'm going to drop you my opinion. So y'all stay tuned and listen to that. All right, so this is an app that I have about boxing. It kind of keeps me updated on news and everything like that. It says, Bivols coach accuses WBC of malicious tactics. Dmitry Bivols' decision to vacate the WBC light heavyweight title continues to spark reactions, with his trainer Gennady Meshaka criticizing the WBC president Mauricio Sulaimán for forcing the situation. In comments to the Russian outlet MMA Mediterranean's Meshuka label the organization's actions malicious, claiming Sulaimán hurriedly imposed the mandatory defense on Bivols fewer than 2 months after his rematch with Artur Beterbiev. According to Meshuka, the WBC had previously allowed other champions considerably more time before ordering such defenses. And by other champions, I believe we all know what champion they really mean. Come on, let's just, we don't have to talk about that, but just know that when David Benavidez was mandated to fight other champions, it took the WBC a long time to, actually they never did anything about it. So, anyways. Meshuka believes the WBC's sudden demand that Bivols face interim champion David Benavidez did not align with prior rotation rules. Citing David Benavidez's lengthy stint as an interim champion at super middleweight and Canelo Alvarez allegedly declining mandatory defenses without repercussions, Meshuka questioned, and those are the answers to that question that, we all know. We all know. Meshuka questioned why his fighter was pressured so quickly. Bivols' team instead chose to vacate the belt in favor of honoring their promise to a third fight with Beterbiev. The Russian star first lost to Beterbiev via majority decision, then reclaimed his belt their second meeting in February, also by majority decision. Turki Al-Sheikh, who facilitated, I just got lost. You know how ads will pop up while you're reading. Who facilitated the first 2 matchups, expressed interest in staging a trilogy, especially after the series produced 2 closely contested bouts with Bivols unwillingly to shift focus, and he and his lawyer informed the WBC that they would relinquish the title. Sulaimán responded by calling Bivols' explanations cold and impersonal and dismissed the arguments as laughable, adding that he wished the fighter well despite his disappointments. So I ask in this situation, is this valid? And after what you guys heard, it just seems like the WBC kind of has something against Dmitry Bivols anyways. It's because if you guys remember, the WBC didn't want to sanction an undisputed matchup or Yeah, they didn't want to. I remember when if you guys remember when Dmitry Bivols, sorry about that. I'm kind of just, my mind's kind of rambling at different points to make. So if you guys remember when Dmitry Bivols fought Canelo Alvarez and beat him, and he said he would like to take a rematch at 168 pounds to challenge for all Canelo's titles. And then the WBC kind of stepped in and was like, well, we're not going to sanction, if you fight for Canelo's title, you won't be fighting for us, but we're not going to sanction it because of what was going on with the Ukraine and with Russia. And I myself thought that was very unfair, because it's like, bro, like, it's not like it's not David Benavidez. I mean, it's not Dmitry Bivols' fault. Like, Dmitry Bivols is not he's not the one that made that choice, that what was going on with Russia and Ukraine. So it's like, I didn't feel like that was fair at all, man. As a matter of fact, I feel like that was very poor taste, or that was poor taste in the WBC or in Mauricio Sulaimán to make Bivol suffer for what his country is doing. I could see if Bivol like went on online or something like that and spoke on it and was said something malicious to what was going on in the Ukraine or whatnot. Then I can understand that, but Bivol is staying out of it, bro. So it's like, bro, why are you making me suffer for what for the choices and the decisions of others? You know what I'm saying? Just because that's my home, that doesn't mean I have to suffer for what's going on. I'm not in control of Russia, so why am I suffering for that? And furthermore, what absolutely makes no sense at all is the fact that you guys let Better Beef hold on to a title, and guess what Better Beef is? He's Russian. You know what I'm saying? Now, he has his citizenship in Canada, but I mean, it's like, bro, I can go to Mexico right now and get a citizenship, or I can go to shit. Roy Jones has a dual citizenship in Russia himself, but we all know that he's a Black American. So it's like, that doesn't change anything. So it's like, wow. So he gets to hold the title, Better Beef. But if I go fight your precious little Canelo doll, and no disrespect to Canelo, but that's just how I put it. If Bivol goes fights Canelo, then he doesn't get a shot at the title, because he's like, it just didn't make any sense to me. So I just feel like Bivol, and now furthermore, it's like, okay, just like they said, it's like, okay, as soon as we get the title, not even 2 months later, you guys are mandating us to fight David Benavidez. But where was this same energy when David Benavidez was at 168 pounds? Crickets. You guys are not going to answer that. So, like, why? I can understand that frustration with the WBC, and I can definitely understand why they would, be so quick to relinquish the titles. Now, granted, again, and I'm gonna go online saying this right here, I don't think the man is ducking Benavidez at all. Like, I can understand it. I really can. I can understand the situation, and it's definitely got to be frustrating for Team Benavidez to even deal with the WBC. I wouldn't even be surprised if they stopped dealing with the WBC for later. I mean, because in my eyes, Dmitry Bivols is a Hall of Famer. I don't care what nobody says. In my eyes, he's already a Hall of Famer. The man is a great resume. He's undisputed. And for me, if you become undisputed, then you don't have to win a title in other weight classes. Not that you really have to win a title in other weight classes. I mean, Triple G did, and people saying he's a Hall of Famer. But I think that Bivol has done enough to be a Hall of Famer, in my opinion. Especially if Joe Calzaghe's a Hall of Famer. Like, you know what I'm saying? No disrespect to him, but Bivol actually fought people in his prime and was actually doing the damn thing. So it's like, it sucks. It sucks because we don't get the Benavidez fight, and it also sucks for Benavidez too. I feel for him, because it's like I said, he has done everything to put himself in a position to get a big fight, and this is the second time a big fight has been rejected, and it's not because it's not his fault. So it's like, I feel sorry for Benavidez, but I don't blame either party. Benavidez, he didn't go in on Bivol or anything like that. He took the title as he should. I don't understand why people don't think that he should have taken a title. Like, who in the history of boxing has done that? He did what he had to do. So shout out to David Benavidez, but shout out to Dmitry Bivols. Now, I don't know. In the third fight, it's no longer going to be for undisputed, but it will be for you. It will be a unification matchup. But I don't know. I don't know. Archie Better Beef is getting old in age. He's now, I think he'll be like 41 by the time they fight again. You know, definitely has some injuries going on. I could see Bivol beating him again. Both of their styles complement each other. They can fight 100 times and it won't be an easy fight. You know what I'm saying? So I don't, but with Bivol getting old, not Bivol, Better Beef, I'm sorry. With Better Beef getting older the way he is, I don't see him beating Bivol, but whatever. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. Who do you see winning in the trilogy? But what do I know?